Hello and welcome everybody back to the dumbass class with me,
And
Dyslexic
he
Gamer.
immediately cuts out again.
It's odd why it does that when I flick over. I think it's because of the push to talk. They're both on the same key, so I switch over, and I have to push the key the key in again. Anyway, hello and welcome everyone back to the dumbass class with me, the Dyslexic Gamer, as we carry on our tabletop RPG series of Warhammer Fantasy. Warhammer Fantasy 2nd Edition, where we are playing in the city of Nuln for now. But first, some shilling. If you have just joined the channel and you've missed some episodes, you can always go to my YouTube channel where I repost all the episodes you can watch from the very beginning. I highly recommend starting off Inquisitorial's Profiteer and this one, the Warhammer Fantasy one. The other ones, maybe give a miss. But with that out of the way, last time our group of warband members were taken to the Golden Hammer. The Golden Hammer is the finest and ritziest place in all of Nuln. The most gentlemanly of gentlemen clubs that our players have ever entered.
It's probably also one of the sleaziest, if we're being completely honest.
You've spent some time in the Dragon. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the most gentlemanly if they allow a cuck in, so.
Oof.
The
Big oof.
The atmosphere so far has been quite pleasant, although you have been in some way segregated, stayed in your own little group. It's still early in the evening. I believe it's 2 o'clock now. Oh, hang on. Yes, it's 2 o'clock now. I was about to do a time shift when you guys wanted to talk to one of the other people of merit within the ballroom. Well, yeah, ballroom, dining hall, large room. They are currently with their employer, Malius von Humperdinck. Humperdinck, whilst you guys have gone around and tried to chat to some people, he has flitted from one person to the other, mainly letting them know that he's here, not that he really needed to tell them. The group, whilst being here, have learnt some information about how the nobles are connected to each other and to certain persons of interest. And they've learnt who is not connected, or who may even have a bone to pick with the mysterious Marquis. Also,
Which, admittedly, is not a lot of people.
well, so far you've worked out there's at least, from your reckoning, 2 noble families that would support you if you were to bring up any allegations against the Marquis, although you're not sure about one. Make sure I don't get the names wrong. Is it the Hollands? No, the Hollands you guys haven't spoken to yet. The Woodards are the lovely couple that seem to be in love and whatnot.
Yeah, I spoke with him.
The Hardings are the ones that appear to be very friendly with the Marquis. One of our players paid off quite a large sum of money to one of the waiters who are in the room. And he was very forthcoming with the information that's readily available. Apparently, Lady Harding enjoys being rogered by the Marquis, and Lord William Harding enjoys watching the rogering. It's all quite scandalous. Someone was raped. Someone was raped, and I cannot find it in my notes for now. It's highly.
that would be
the old lady. I can't remember her last name.
It was
but
the Hamptons.
She wore all black.
It was the Hamptons.
I have on my notes. It's where is it? God
The
damn it.
Hampton something.
Lady Frances Hunter Winter.
It's the one
Her
who did
daughter
the
was
doctor.
raped.
Ah, yes. Yes. So the Hamptons, you're pretty sure, are. You've guessed that with what you found out about the charlatan, there is a very high likely probability that the one who assaulted the Hampton's daughter was in fact the Marquis. And you also know that that Lord Hampton. Hang on. Do you know that? Oh, I wish I'd put in my notes what I told you and what I didn't tell you. That would have been really useful. Well, for now, we'll leave it at that. You know that the Hamptons may be an ally, and the Woodards may be an ally.
Do I need to throw more money around?
Well, you're
Maybe.
about to help me try and talk to the guard guy, so
Oh, I can throw money at him too.
I don't think
no,
he'll bite, though.
No.
I really don't think he'll bite.
he's deep in the pocket.
Ragnar,
Yeah,
Casper,
no,
and
there's not a
myself.
fucking, there's not a fucking chance. But,
We're all going to talk to
Oh shit! Wait, no,
Edward
sorry.
Barton, commander of the Nuln City Guard.
Yeah, it's the leader, isn't it, of it, or something like that.
Bring up the Charlie
Hmm.
map.
Commander of the City Guard.
That's it.
So we left off last time as a small group of our warband members were about to break away and go into essentially the garden foyer area, place where gentlemen can stand and get a bit of fresh air, talk about business.
The smoking room, basically, and
So who was it who wanted to step forth and go and speak to Sir Edward Barton?
I do remember I was there as support, and I wasn't there to actually talk.
I believe it was
Wasn't
I
it?
think Ragnar.
Yeah, me and
Ragnar, myself,
Casper.
and Aurelia.
So I was going to get you two to talk to him and try and tease out whether he knew us. Or hopefully get him to play his hand a little bit. Because I can't do the talking yet. I'm working on it, but I'm not there yet.
Oh, Casper, you're the face. You first.
Alright, give me my opening line. Do it while I think of something.
We'll do it live.
You'll do it improvly. Impromptly? Improvise.
Impromptu, I think.
Okay, make like the rattling and go eat the fucking lasback.
A what?
Hey, lads, what?
A magical
them-
wand.
We call them Skaven.
Oh, yes, make like the skin and go eat the wand.
Technically, they're called halflings, and you've got to get one later on. So,
Okay, halfling, Skaven, is there really a difference when you really come down to it?
Make them eat warpstone.
isn't it the Sithis who are meant to be the Skaven of 40k, the Sithith? Oh,
no,
sorry.
no,
Oh,
no.
probably.
Sliff or the snake-like mercenaries employed by the Drukari.
I don't think we need 40k.
Anyway,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm
So,
sorry I
That's
brought it up.
Tuesdays.
but-
Right, look, it's the same. We're connected through the warp. It's the same universe.
as you,
I mean, you
walk
say that.
out of the ballroom hall and you step out into the garden, technically it's still afternoon.
Yeah.
The afternoon air is just as it was when you came out before. It's a muggy. It's it's a muggy day because of the cloud cover that's over Nuln at the moment, as well as all the smoke and grime that pumps out from the smokestacks of the commercial district. Fortunately, there is a breeze that's pushing most of that away, but there's still enough in the air that you notice it. Unlucky elves.
Oh, how we suffer.
You're fine indoors, it's only outdoors. So, Sir Edward is stood. He's a large, barrel-chested man. He has a thin moustache that is waxed so that it spins round in a little twirl on either side. He is currently smoking a pipe, staring up at the sky.
Okay.
I just kind of look at Casper and nudge him. Go on.
Right.
Irella's gonna look at Casper and she's gonna say, perhaps we should introduce him since he is the captain of the guard and we are a warman working inside his city. Perhaps we just here to introduce ourselves and, make sure he knows us.
Can I?
And who finances us?
Yeah. Can I just make it a perception test to get the kind of how would you say
If you want to do a perception test on how he looks, his demeanour, his clothes that he's wearing, things like that, you can do that. Just to get more information about the man. That's fine.
okay, kind of, does he see us come in, or is his back turned to us or something?
You would imagine that he sees you out of his peripheral vision. He can tell that someone's walked out here. A group of them, a small group. But he can't,
Alright.
it's just in the peripheral vision. And you don't see him look round at you all. So it may be that he doesn't care who's come out here. It may be that he's noticed you but doesn't want to introduce himself to your group first. He is staring off at the sky, and it's not exactly there's no real reason for him to be staring off into the sky.
He's posing for Google Earth. Always, the cameras are always watching.
Can we?
What now?
Can I really actually look at his neck and see if there's also a mark there, like there was on the
Perception tests.
Lady Helen?
Perception tests,
Isn't it?
please.
Yeah. Okay. Main thing I'm looking for is how he holds himself, like his stances and stuff, and as we approach him, if he does see us, does his reaction change in any way?
Can I do a perception or a? I guess it might be a smith or an armor test to see what kind of armor he's wearing as well.
Sure. Because you have the smithing skill, you can do a perception test to look at his armor and see the quality of it. For Casper and Aurelia. So he holds himself quite confidently. He is standing in a very noble pose, would be the only way I say. His shoulders are back, straight back, shoulders pushed back. Holding himself in a noble manner, but it does look like it's posed, as if he's trying to make himself look of higher status than he actually was. He does notice you. You can tell by as you walk out, he does take a hit off of his pipe, and he blows the smoke out, and you can see he turns his head just enough to where he could easily see that there's two people and a dwarf who have just come
Ouch.
outside. So is it
Ouch.
is it 4 people and a dwarf?
The shade.
You know, even though I'm an elf, I wouldn't put it like that.
Well, no, because he's not. So he's not stared at you. He's still looking out the corner of his eyes. So you're the same height as a human. Unless you're saying you're so odd looking that through a quick glance people can go, "Oh, fucking hell, an elf."
It's not even
No,
that. It's
it
just
was
that
about
not-
people and the dwarf.
Oh. I was saying the dwarf
One is-
because it's clearly shorter than
clearly a dwarf.
we know we're joking.
clearly,
Dwarves are people
clearly.
too.
And I'm
Are they?
defending myself here, but he may be a racist. Who knows?
Well,
And-
then he's getting dwarfing soon.
And as you look, Casper, he does seem to have like this is a very high-do establishment. But the nobles that you've spoken to so far, whilst they have had jewellery on, most of them have had a reasonable amount of jewellery for their station. The men, a few golden trinkets on them, maybe a gold ring or two. This individual has a number of gold rings on his fingers. He has a gold chain around his wrist. He has a gold chain with a sigil of the Nuln's city guard hanging around his neck. He has an awful lot of finery, and his clothes as well do seem to be of a very fine and high status make. Not that it's out of the ordinary here, but for the captain of the guard, for the man in charge of, a little bit too much, would be saying, not
Looks
enough.
like he gets paid more than what you would expect.
Yes, he is definitely flaunting his wealth, and his wealth, his salary shouldn't cover the amount of wealth that he is showing off. And
Okay.
for Aurelia, as you go out there and try and look for bruises and marks, you don't see any, and we'll come back. Ragnar, as you peer over and try and look at his armor, you can see that there's a lot of engraving work done. He seems to have the sigil of the of Nuln's guard engraved onto it. It seems to be inlaid. You reckon it's inlaid with silver? Nothing harder than that, but still, a well-made item with a decent amount of filigree and finery on it. It is only a cuirass, so basically a breastplate. With a breastplate with a neck piece that comes up. Although the neck piece you can see does detach, so it can be clipped off and then clipped on like he has now, which would make you think, although it's not got jewels in it, that's got to be master crafted. That's got to be the highest quality armor cuirass that you've seen in a while. Not since Gales. No. Not since Gales have you seen finer human craft up close and checking it out as you are. So again, going back to Casper's, something that you're looking at and you would think, hang on a minute, the captain of the guard has something that nice? Huh. Bit odd. And for going back to Aurelia, as you try and peer around at him and try and get a look, a gust of wind changes direction and the smokestack plumes of just shit in the air drift over. You don't really see anything, and as you kind of peer over, just trying to see, is his neck, just trying to make yourself a bit taller, the man turns and looks at you. Oh, my lady, is there something amiss? Ah. One of Humperdinck's, are you?
Rather will give a cautious bow. Then look at Casper.
I will do the same. Just a nice bow and indeed, sir. We are part of Humperdinck's, my Lord Humperdinck's warband.
He bristles visibly, like standing up straighter, shaking a little bit, and I see. Yes. I was informed that that buffoon would bring his little playthings here.
Oh,
How many of you have actually fought in a real battle?
Irella's just going to smile. Clearly you don't know my age, do you, sir?
No, mine.
I can't speak for my friends here, but I have protected myself well enough in the wilds. But no, I have not been about open field battles. I'm judging by your armor and amount of jewelry. I would say you've seen your fair share and been handsomely rewarded for it.
Well, yes, but of course, I wouldn't have gained this position if I was not a master at arms, unlike Humperdinck's rabble, it appears. I'm not entirely sure why he thought bringing a band of misfits and isolationists and hole diggers would have been the best choice for Nuln, but he is eccentric, so...
My good sir, you misunderstand. He did not hire us just because we are, as you say, a band of odds and ends. We complement each other quite well in the face of things, and we also complement our Lord's skill and make up for that which he doesn't.
Oh, your burden must be so heavy then, seeing as Humperdinck is lacking in so many ways.
Tell me, have you ever seen him shoot? I will
He
say
gives you a spiteful look at that.
I will say something I did not expect of the man when I first met him. He was a lot of good
Yes.
shot.
Don't tip our hand.
Yes, I know of Humperdinck's ability with firearms. He beat me in the last competition that
You
he
can't,
was part of.
you can't be that good at your work of arms then, if Humperdinck beat you at something.
I'm going to punch fucking Ragnar in the shoulder.
Speaking of which, I'm surprised you still have, since you are such a master, clearly, I'm surprised you still have human-made armor and haven't gone for superior dwarven craft.
I'm going to punch him again in the arm.
I believe the hole diggers have some more digging to do. Last I understood, you were still trapped in your mountains, struggling to actually breed enough to do anything other than dig.
This
Whilst
guy's
we
an
humans
asshole.
have been fighting on the front line of the greenskins, of those horrors that come from the north, from raiders from the sea, you sit in your mountains, hole digger. You'll excuse me if my people
and we
haven't
guard
bled
you
enough.
We guard you from bigger terrors from underneath.
I'm going
Have
to
you
punch him repeatedly in the arm.
Irella's gonna
Have you
put.
seen any
He scoffs at that. Just a
Irella's gonna put a hand on Ragnar's arm, and she's just gonna look at him like, "It's time to stop, buddy." She's just looking. She's not kicking. She's not punching. She's just putting her hand on his shoulder.
Gotta get a rise out of this guy somehow. I don't actually say that, but that's me as a PC saying that.
Oh, I know. I completely get it. It's just that calm down. Everyone's doing this to Ragnar, not you.
Yeah. I'm just gonna relent and let Casper take the lead again with the talking.
I'm a little confused. Fuck, I've lost my train of thought. I'm gonna
Something
poke
about him.
Aurelia. Say something while I... Not Aurelia. It is Aurelia, fuck. Say something while I fucking remember.
Not prepared for this.
So, tell me, will your rabble be here during... Ooh. Shit, what's it called again?
The gunpowder
Black
week?
Powder Week? Or will you be moving on to cleanse Mordehem?
Right, Rod still smiling. She's just gonna look at him. Oh my good sir, we go where our boss wants us to go, and if clearing Nuln of filth that should be cleared by now is something we do, then it's something we do.
Ah, yes. The elven way, I see. Not actually making a decision, just letting time pass you by. He glares.
Rad's still smiling. Perhaps. But then again, I don't think you would ever know. You wouldn't live long enough for our decision.
I feel really tempted to punch Aurelia now.
He takes a long drag on his pipe before tapping it out, ensuring that the ash and embers are flicked in your direction. He begins to fill it up as he blows the smoke in your direction.
Rad is still smiling.
Well,
She's
your
not gonna
kingdom
stop
is
smiling.
so small, it's no surprise that you stay in your forest. Or are you from the seas? I can never tell with your kind.
Oh, we're measuring kingdom sizes now. This guy's definitely compensating.
Oh, it's no wonder that you don't know it, my lord. I don't think you have ever even gotten close to it, but let's stop with the pleasantries now, shall we? We're here to introduce ourselves. Isn't that correct, Casper?
It is. Oh god. I'm gonna approach a little bit more towards him and my good sir, you are the master of the city guard, correct?
He sighs and yes.
Well,
You must have heard about what happened.
no.
No?
Surely, your men and such have said rumors from the streets. Maybe you've heard one or two of them. I see it is quite clear. You're not a massive friend of our own lord, but surely you can put that behind us. As you say, we're just hired buffoons. But surely, if you care for Nuln, you would point us towards some of the less savory jobs for your city. After all, we are allowed to make coin outside of Humperdinck's work for the time being.
I have no interest in aiding Humperdinck or his warband in any way. I think that buffoon needs to leave this place as soon as he can. But he insists on waiting round. That's for him to do, I suppose. He is a lord. As far as the Countess is
And
willing
you
to
are not?
go on. He gives you a scorn, a really dirty look as you say
Sorry,
that.
I was very I was thrown off a little. You wear so much finery. I was actually a little partially confused. Sorry.
He's merely a pretender, clearly.
Ral's gonna put her hand.
God fucking damn it!
Ral's gonna put her head on his shoulder again, like. Still smiling. Just gonna look at Ragnar. Close her eyes, like.
Oh.
If I serve for long enough and nobles are willing to vouch for me, then one day I will become a lord as well. But for
I think
now,
you need to be
I am a
likable for
humble.
that to happen.
For now, I am a humble knight, and I
Well-
serve Nuln and the Countess.
Then
I do not
surely
need
you-
to assist some ragtag bunch of nobodies who serve a man I rather dislike. Although you are right, it is only proper that we introduce ourselves. He does the most pathetic little bow you've ever seen, more taking the piss than anything. I'm Sir Edward Bolton, Captain of the City Guard. Now, if there's nothing more interesting for you ruffians to talk about.
I give him my own little bow and just simply say, I am Casper. A man looking to grow in station. And walker of the night. Good night. And turn my heels and walk off.
Ral's gonna bow.
I give him a proper bow, by the way, not a fucking little shitty one. I don't even
Yeah.
care if he does it as a joke.
So,
Rally
Aurelia and Ragnar would notice that as Casper does a proper bow, there's a smirk that comes over on his face that really just...
Makes you want to punch him in the face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rel is still smiling. She's gonna give a proper bow to her. She's just gonna say, I am Aurelia. And she's just gonna squeeze Ragnar's shoulder one last time, and she's gonna turn and leave with Casper.
Ragnar's gonna nod his head and go, Ragnar. And one last bit of advice as I leave. Jealousy is not a pretty colour on one so ugly. And I just walk away to join the others.
Oh god.
I was choked.
Holy fuck.
He lights
Getting
his
sassed out by a fucking dwarf.
he lights his pipe and just watches the dwarf Ragnar for a moment before he returns to looking at the sky, looking very content with himself.
Dibs on killing him.
Alright, I return to the rest of the group and see who else needs a hand in the fellowship department.
As you return, you see Livia, and she's like, so, what did he say?
He's a cuck.
He's a cuck? I got he's a twat from that.
He is a twat, he's a pompous fool, and he believes he's going to grow in station. But I truly believe Ragnar will rend his guts from his groin before that even happens.
Ragnar just gives a chuckle.
You're just gonna smile, giggle a little bit, grab whatever sparkly drink there is, and she's gonna start sipping it again.
So Livia's gonna
Sparkly
turn to
drink. Look
Irelia
at
and
you,
like,
you push cunt.
Livia's gonna turn to Irelia, grin, and be like, "So he's human then?"
I look a
I
little
was just,
offended at that.
I was gonna say, yes, yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Okay.
Look even a little bit more offended at that. Fuck.
Everyone's gonna look at Casper and say, Casper, you don't count.
You look even a little bit more offended at that.
It's just gonna give you a big ass smile.
Don't worry, Casper. You're a somewhat better breed than whatever
You know,
he is.
I like how Carl doesn't even perk up.
I believe I'm still engaged in a conversation with a lovely noble couple.
You don't stop fucking playing off each other.
So Carla, you would notice that Humperdinck has moved on now. He's now talking to the Hardings.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So, where do we go from here? Who's the next?
Rose is gonna look. Well, technically, we still have two couples to introduce ourselves to. The Woodards. Forgive me, not the Woodards. The Hamptons and the Hollands.
Why don't you guys take care of them? I'm gonna see if Carla needs some help. She's been alone with them for a while now.
I'll tag along with Irelia.
Alright. Yeah, I'll go with Aurelia and Livia.
I'm gonna toss a coin. A mental coin toss.
So just as a reminder, the Hamptons' daughter was raped, wife in black and silver. Not looking too joyful, but they are still here and talking to some of the lesser nobles who dots around the place. The Hollands seem to be an okay couple. They're not really. They're just in the part of the ballroom that's got tables on and food is being brought to those tables. So you could have more of a meal if you want one, rather than just little hors d'oeuvres that are being carried round.
Rose gonna look at both Casper and Liv and say, probably go introduce ourselves to the Hamptons, but we should be as nice as possible to them. Won't you agree?
Yeah. Yeah. Hampton. Yes. Let me get your chart real quick. Whatever the hell it is.
Want me to repost it? It's not exactly pretty, but I can repost it.
Alright.
Hold up.
Was it Hammond or Hampton?
Hampton.
Hampton.
Okay. Right. Oh, there we go. There's the just
You've got Ruth and Thomas, Holland, and Francis and George Hampton.
right. Holland is the. Okay, Hampton. Right. Wait, sorry. Which one was Holland?
Lady Ruth Holland Cruz and Lord Thomas Holland Cruz. Lady Ruth is a large-chested woman with a big ginger wig, and Lord Thomas is a very small
All you need to
guy.
say. Large chest,
Large.
ginger. Let's go.
That's the.
Say no
And
more, fam.
the Lord is a small man with a large top hat and a high heel boot. Well, and he has boots. Maybe bankers.
So,
Who knows?
as you approach the Hollands, you would see that they are sat down at a table that was meant for a larger group. They have a number of plates of food that have been brought to them, with a number of drinks. You would imagine that they've at least had 2 drinks each within the first hour, maybe 3 if the staff are as good as you think they are at, they take away shit when they bring stuff over, keeping the tables clean. And as you approach, you see a waiter to come over and remove the other glasses from their table. Ruth appears to be the one who is eating the most, whereas Thomas does appear to be drinking quite a lot. As you approach, you can see that his boots, the lords, the males here, are wearing very fancy shoes with a heel on, but these seem a little bit more than what would be normal. And his hat is ever so tall, and even though he sat down at a dinner table or eating at a table, he hasn't removed his hat.
Oh. Okay.
They do appear to be talking about other lords, basically gossiping between themselves about the other lords, the lesser lords, and the higher lords, the characters you've been talking to. As they see you approach, Ruth does stop. She stops eating, finishes her mouthful as she raises up her fan to her face, and she motions with the fan and gives it a little wave in your direction to kind of imply that, by all means come over. You're not interrupting. I'll stop stuffing my face for a moment.
Okay. All right. So, as we approach, as we get close enough, I'll give him a quick bow. And the Lord, the lady.
The Riley would do the same, but you do a gracious bow.
Yeah, Olivia will give a small bow.
I point to myself and then to the rest, saying, "We are from Lord Humperdinck's warband. We thought we would get ourselves accustomed to his associates and friends."
Oh yes, it was hard not to notice you. We stood up on the balcony there. You all look rather splendid, don't you? That's a Ruth. She dabs at the side of her mouth. I fucking hate that voice. She dabs at the side of her mouth with a napkin. It's quite wonderful that you're going to attempt to conquer Mordheim. We were all quite surprised and taken aback, weren't we? Thomas?
Oh, yes, it was a bit of a death mission now, isn't it? Don't you think?
Well, our options were Mordheim or slay a dragon, and I think slaying the dragon would be too easy. I just say it with a big smile.
Well, easier than clearing Mordheim, I would imagine. You get them when they're asleep, from what I've heard. But I'm not in the business, so... He kind of gestures. Oh, but darling, it's not so bad. Sorry, that's actually a voice for someone else who I wasn't meant to.
Don't worry,
Two
darling, it'll
voices.
buff out.
Too many voices. It's okay, darling. It's not a problem. It's something that they will have to rise to.
Well, nothing was ever conquered without an attempt.
You gather that her voice is quite annoying, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Fair enough. That is 100% fair.
While we're talking, can I give the same check I've been giving the entire night?
Sure, yeah, you can do a perception check. There's no negatives whilst you're inside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same to see how they hold themselves and such.
Oh,
Oh damn. Oh, not as good, but oh damn.
So, for Aurelia, you don't see any marks of bruising. There's no sign of what you saw on Lady Harding. Yes.
Yep.
For Casper, they're both wearing what you would actually say is a reasonable amount of jewellery and finery. They're not wearing, an absolute fortune on them. They've each got a respectable amount of rings on and, where needed, chains with sigils or medallions or just precious stones. They're dressed in what you would say is very fine evening wear, but nothing again outrageous on these two.
Okay.
They do seem to. You do get the feeling that they are a little bit on the outside of the social circle, just by the fact that the other nobles haven't really, the high nobles haven't really mingled that much, but then none of them have. You just get this feeling that they're more on the outside. Whilst Ruth has an annoying voice, Thomas just seems to be a very dour, small little man who appears to be making up for something. Probably just his stature, but who knows.
Yeah.
But you don't see anything out of the ordinary on these two. In fact, none of you do. Not really. As you go through a little bit more discussion, you'd find out that Thomas is actually part of the Nuln banking system. He's a lord in control of money lending. So,
I knew it.
Ah.
although he doesn't seem as you would think someone in that position would spend a lot of money, from what you gather, he seems to be very good with money. He knows the prices of things, and there's a bit of trade talk that goes on. It'd probably bring up Humperdinck's recent transaction, which was the coffee. Well, from what everyone knows, would be the coffee that he brought from Tilia. I believe it was Tilia. And he seems extreme just from that conversation of how much Humperdinck said he earned. He's able to work out how much it was per crate and so on and so forth. You really do get the idea that this guy is rather good when it comes to hoarding and collecting money. Not so good at spending it.
Okay.
Hold up. He's short, very short, and he's wearing a top hat and
Clean-shaven.
very big high heel boots.
You've only caught on.
Hold on. Come on.
Clean shaven.
Really?
Come on, man. Oh. Miranda's eyes will widen a little bit as this dawns on her, but she's not gonna say anything.
Roll willpower not to laugh.
If you're thinking what I think you're thinking, who knows? Who knows?
How big is his mustache?
He does have he doesn't have a mustache. He's clean shaven.
Okay, so he's discount Monopoly Man.
Yeah, he hasn't got a monocle on, and he hasn't got the Monopoly Man moustache. He has got the top hat and the jacket.
Oh god.
Oh, I'll be dropped.
I'll be dropped, yeah.
No.
Oh, damn it, Albie. I kind of feel half tempted to ask him about fucking the investment banking and stuff just for the sheer hell of it, to see if it'll liven it up a little. Because it seems that's what he likes.
It's not so much investment banking in the Dark Age.
Okay,
It's more of, sure, you can petition us for money and we'll. It's a very simple system.
Well, I will turn to him and say, well, you seem to know you seem very, very well accustomed with the art of. Well, do I know he's a banker?
Yes, he would have, yeah, through the conversation,
Okay.
yeah.
So instead of that, I turn and say, so as a lord and as a banker, how? This may seem out of place, but would you ever give a few pointers towards someone who wishes to at least make a small, nicer income and hopefully settle down when this whole Mordheim thing is finished?
Well, by all means, there's plenty of ways to make money with money. The industries in Nuln, if you want a piece of the action, it is quite expensive. It's not something the rest of the lords really want just anyone to access.
Of course.
Unless you join a guild. We do have a couple of guilds for the lesser nobles to join. It's a little loophole that I actually found 5 years ago now, I think. Was it 5 years ago now, Ruth? She replies in her annoying voice, confirming it.
Okay. Oh, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you very much. But out of curiosity, say I were to take on the city guard or anything along those lines, is there anything along that pathway that would make me at least a noticeable sum? Trying to drop a little, 1 or 2 hints here.
Sorry, you want to know if there's anything with the guard?
Say, if I were to take up some form of a position in the guard, is there actually any? Well, would there be any profitable things in that direction? Besides anything illegal, of course.
Not really. I mean, if you're not talking about illegal things, then the guard stipend wouldn't get you much. I mean, Sir Edward can only really be here because of the backdoor dealing that he does. But I try and stay out of the politics of our class. It doesn't mix well with money, you see. I've had to lend money to many of the nobles, and sometimes the collection can be a bit, especially if you've got involved, It's better if you just sit back and watch the drama play out rather than being a starring actor in it. How I've always done things. Isn't that right, Ruth? Ruth replies in her annoying voice yet again. It grates now.
Maybe you from the back. I can appreciate that.
That is good advice. Is there anything? Well, I don't exactly want to take an active part. Is there anything I should sit back and keep my eye out for? Just to for the sake of entertainment.
Well, give me a charm test with. You're not a noble. He doesn't care.
I do have etiquette.
You do have etiquette, but you're not. He doesn't mind Humperdinck, so you're not getting negatives for that. So it'll probably just be a -10 then.
Okay. So instead of -10 with etiquette?
Yes, still -10 with etiquette.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Nice.
Ooh,
I hear a good dice roll.
I see a good dice roll.
23 out of 79.
That's a good dice roll.
Well, I shouldn't really go talking too much about what I do in my business, but I suppose if you are willing to just sit back and watch things play out, Robert there, a lovely young man, same with Elizabeth. They've been climbing the social ladder quite quickly. The Countess thinks that they're a wonderful, fresh breath of fresh air. Their youth and vigour and vibrancy, I quite agree in some points. But I digress. Robert has been acquiring a large amount of profit, shall we say, from his multi businesses. He has been proclaiming that he would like to acquire certain relics in the next auction. He in fact borrowed a large sum, which we agreed would be fine. But the reason for the loan was the acquisition of goods from the auction, and an associate of mine was able to find out that the Marquis is also after the same item. So drama should be had. If you just sit back and watch, it's not too long until the auction should happen. So tensions will be rising. I don't know if you'll be able to witness it exactly. It might not happen tonight, but it might. Although he kind of looks round and raises up on his chair, like almost doing a hand press on his chair to lift himself up more.
Oh.
To scan the room. I don't see the Marquis here, and though maybe it won't be tonight, but those would be the ones to watch. But then, of course, actually, completely skipped my mind. Your master and the Marquis, that should be a source of good entertainment. It normally is. Isn't it, Ruth? She again replies in her annoying voice. She mentions something about the Marquis having a weird, desirable feature about him, and Thomas kind of gives her just a dirty look. Just this, the fuck you say? Yeah. Dreadful, man. Just
Oh god.
dreadful.
I think I know why he's shaven.
Woo!
Damn!
Just out in public like that.
Oh god. Okay.
Dear Lord.
Well then.
Ooh.
Yeah, sadly, they're the only two forms of entertainment that he would point out.
God damn it, I should have tried to hint more towards young Bobbert. No, not Bobbert. What the fuck do you call him?
Rob.
You mean
Or do you mean
The
Sir
guard.
Edward?
Edward.
Oh, Sir Edward, a lovely man. As long as you're above his station. Awful bastard to the servants and the staff here. But
Oh, don't worry, we already have seen.
you've noticed. We heard him talking from here, but couldn't really make anything out. Doors and walls, you see. But nothing too bad. It's his way. He has to suspect the underclasses and, you know, bring down the heavy hand of the guard, really.
Should I be of the heavy hand of the Countess?
Well,
He should be enforcing the Countess's law.
Well, he does. As far as I'm aware, he does. I'm sure he lets a few things slip here and there, you know, for him to have gained all that wealth. But I don't imagine he's broken any major laws. Maybe just looked the other way as a noble decided to have a bit of sport in the shady town, you know, hunt down some of the undesirables, you know, in the sewers there, test the bravery and all.
Well, I don't see that much harm in that. I kind of give a quick sideways glance at Aurelia, saying, and Louis going, not really.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that there. Could you repeat? Sorry.
Mirdis.
What?
He's hunting sinless for sport.
Oh.
Oh, he looks the other way for other nobles to do so. And I think we both know who that other noble is.
I like how you didn't
Yeah.
even miss a beat when I used the word sinless.
Yeah. Rather just nod very slightly. I mean, she has been hunted over there too, so.
I kind of feel really tempted just to make a gossip thing here.
Do we?
What would you like to know?
No. Maybe spread a little bit of gossip more. Tell me, how many of these events does he usually attend?
I
If you
don't
don't
know.
mind.
Well, the Golden Hammer is open every day of the week. It is a gentleman's club. Of course, our women folk are welcome as well, to certain areas. This being one of them. There are areas where it is men only, just as there are areas where it is women only. But we don't come every day. But I should at least think that Sir Edward comes every other day. He is this is a favoured place of his, shall we say. Although I don't actually know if he pays. He kind of looks around at your mini group, and you probably don't know this, but we nobles pay a yearly cost to come here. It is a club, basically. That's how it works.
That's how they get you, the subscription fees.
But I don't know if Sir Edward is actually paying his fee, or if another noble is paying it for him. There have been sponsors before. I'm sure there will be again in the future. But I definitely would not think that Sir Edward could afford the rather lofty price tag that the Golden Warhammer asks of its patrons.
I would have said, my lord, but now that you bring it up more, that does strike me as odd. He does seem to enjoy flaunting his coin, but that doesn't seem about the same coin. It doesn't seem like the amount of coin a guard captain should be able to throw around so frivolously, especially with such a. I don't. I don't think I can quite imagine how much a membership here is at such a lovely place.
Well, you do need to remember he is the guard captain.
Of course, but if you're here every other day, and you splash out for such fine jewelry and such fine armor just for certain occasions.
I would imagine most of it is gifts, to be quite honest. Not all nobles have such disdain for the lower classes. I myself have no problem with the lower classes. They all spend coin, and that coin adds up and accumulates and grows, and it's all good for Nuln and myself.
Of course.
Another drink comes over as your discussion carries on. But
he must be a very righteous man then, if people bless him so with gifts.
Well, no, you see, the opposite more likely. Let's say your wayward son gets into mischief, decides to enter one of the brothels, and perhaps an accident occurs, and that getting out would definitely damage the noble's reputation. Well, they may, if they have the savvy anyway, pay off the brothel and pay off the guards, and of course pay off the guard captain. That does happen. I can't tell you how often. Enough for him to be. I don't know if it's. He kind of gives a shrug. If it's. I know it's definitely possible because I'm a money man. I see the potential in almost anything. So, of course. But it's more than likely that the Marquis has a finger or something else in it. He does tend to go a little wild from time to time. I've heard some of his parties have had a few accidents.
Who? Sorry?
The Marquis.
Marquis.
You see, the people are very clumsy. They just keep falling on the same knife over and over again.
Look, officer, it wasn't my fault. She stripped naked, tripped, fell on my dick, and then those bruises just appeared around her neck. I don't know what to tell you. Here's a sack. Just take this sack and go on your way.
Dump it in the river.
Listen, just because she wanted a sack doesn't mean you want to give the guard a sack too.
But when it's a sack of gold, it's a different story.
They're all horrible people.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the Hardings hadn't offered some wealth to him at least a few times. I've heard William is a bit promiscuous, and Helen I've heard nothing but wonderful, wonderful things about. He says that in a very, very sarcastic way.
It really stifles a giggle.
So I'm hearing like it's a very open secret what's happening here.
An open secret? It might not be an open secret. It might be that the Hardings think they're
It's a
covering it up really
semi-closed
well,
secret.
and everyone else is just like, no, it's blatant.
No, we stay next to you in the club. We can hear it through the walls. I'm sure everyone in Nuln can hear it through the walls.
But the Marquis told us last night that he rogered you whilst your husband watched. Why would you deny it? Yeah.
These kinky ass novels.
He stuck what up your ass? And then smoked it? Ugh.
Oh Christ, no.
No. Inquisitor,
Oh,
get
God.
out of here. You're drunk.
Okay.
But if
Right.
the people pay him to sweep certain things under the rug, there must be quite a lot of things that just get forgotten.
It's a big rug.
Well, there are an awful lot of nobles in Nuln. I mean, he kind of gestures to all the minor nobles that are in the room. All of these people may have needed to pay him off at one point or another. It's quite possible. The captain of the guard has always been a difficult position to fill. The last one was he was a particularly honourable man. It set a lot of problems within the noble ranks, you see. You know, he didn't take bribes or sweep anything under the rug, thus the common man loved him, the nobles despised him, and, well, he disappeared after a while. Well, about the time the Marquis first appeared, I think. Was that about the
What a
time, Ruth?
coincidence.
And she replies in her annoying voice that yes, it was indeed about the time that the Marquis first appeared.
Plot twist,
What a
he is the
coincidence.
Marquis. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
He died a hero.
My lord and lady, if you don't mind, I hear quite a lot about this Marquis, but I don't particularly know what he has done to earn his fortune. Was he born into it? Does he own property, or...?
Much like Humperdinck, I believe. He came into Nuln, it must be 10 years, the very least. Was it 10 years, Ruth? Again, annoying voice. Affirmative. In the affirmative. Well, so yes.
This is affirmative.
So yes, it was about 10 years now that he turned up. The Countess believed he was a wonderful breath of fresh air. Humperdinck was I believe he was trading with the dwarves, or he was off doing something, profiteering of some nonsense. And, well, it was very stale in Nuln at the time, and he was a delightful breath of fresh air at the time. A little bit out there, but nothing to what he is now, I will admit. It seems as if the years have only made him have to become more extreme, I think. But yes, he wasn't, as far as I'm aware, he was a noble of some province or another that their fiefdom got wiped out by I believe it was by a raiding party of some sort from up north. And he made his way here with as many trade goods that he could acquire, and some of his furs caught the eye of the Countess's acquirer of fabrics, materials, and furs. They checked the marketplace, checking for the finest things that the Countess may like, and Yes, it's kind of barrel rolled from there. He was shot up to the heights of Marquis within, I believe it was a year. Ruth butts in with her annoying voice, saying that no, he was wrong. It's 2 years. No, it was a year. And then Ruth replies that no, it was 2 years because the second year was the year that he went swimming in Nuln's, in the Reich. I believe, is it Reich? I think it's called the Reich.
It's,
Completely
yeah,
naked.
it's the right.
Eber. The River Eber.
On
All
River
right.
River Eber.
on the
Or Upper
Duchess's celebration. I can't remember what celebration it was now. It wasn't her coronation. It was on one of her
Jubilee.
anniversaries of her coronation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you would remember that, wouldn't you? So, okay, 2 years then. So yes, he's held the seat of Marquis now for 8, and I still don't know how he makes his money, or he may still have contacts from up north, or he just shrugs. The Marquis doesn't let me into his estate's affairs.
Right. Well, very well. But if all it takes to gain nobility is to swim up the River Reich in the stark naked, hopefully that'll be entertaining sight then. And pretend to remove my cloak, and I'm just trying to laugh it off.
If the Countess thinks so, then maybe. Her tastes have changed a bit more in the years as well. She may not look it, but she has matured quite a lot since then.
I'm sure she's still a marvelous woman.
Ruth starts complaining in a really irritating high-pitched voice that the Countess's beauty has remained the same for 10 years and how depressing it is. It just can't be fair! How can her beautiful skin remain the same after 10 years?
Simple. You just switch it every month.
I know, my dear, I know. We'll get you some more
Shows your
ointments.
skin.
Oh fuck.
Moisturize me.
Christ.
No. Don't make me get the whip.
Back in the box.
Oh.
How
Shit.
long has the Countess been the Countess?
So, the Countess became the Countess in the year 2000 and 2003. 2503. The year now is on dates, I hope. The year now is... she's been on the throne for 24 years? No, 25 years.
Yeah, I believe we worked this out before. She's like something like 40 something?
Yes.
Yeah, because totally didn't have plans to seduce the Countess at one point.
Oh god.
What do you mean at one point?
Listen, okay. I just can't tell the nobles that.
Although when you saw her, she appeared to be a woman in her early 30s, late 20s.
Okay. I'm gonna try and divert the conversation because the jealousy of a woman about beauty can go on for quite a while.
Sure.
Fuck, I don't know. What else should we bring up?
There's plenty of time. You can come back to the Hollands.
Yeah, Yeah, that's fair. Well, I'll get up and excuse myself and go off if the other two wish to stay for a while.
No, I'll give a bow and I'll leave as soon as you do.
Yeah, I'll take a little bow as well.
I'll just say we'll go introduce ourselves. We'll make sure we've all introduced ourselves properly, and then we may return for maybe a few more drinks and a little bit more of a chat, if that is fine with you, my lord and lady.
They send you off warmly and insist that you come back round to talk about any dramas that may have happened or to discuss investment ideas later on in the evening.
God damn it, I have to think of a fucking business idea. God damn it. It's the dead cat all over again.
Invest in me.
If you give me money.
Buying, selling, and the transportation of other people's blood.
That's a very
I wish to create
specialist
a bank,
market.
but not for money, but blood.
No,
Why?
I can essentially
Why
double.
not?
And
Seriously?
transfusions don't exist, so they're like, why do you need so much? What?
It's part of
I've
my
come up with a
religion.
new practice. It's called bloodletting. We've got to store it somewhere. We can't just pour it in the river. They'll turn the Reich red. Wait, did I say Reich or Reich?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Either way, the German is happy.
Okay, we have introduced ourselves to everybody except the Hamptons, correct?
Yes.
Time to go to the Hamptons?
I will join you in a moment. I'm going to take a breather. And by that I mean I'm going to step out for a second to go take a leak.
So, as
get a
you as you leave the Hollands behind and you look around, you can see that the Hamptons are in a similar position to where Humperdinck was earlier. They're close to the entrance to the gardens, but they're also quite close to the tables where food is being brought, and you can see that George Hampton has taken a number of the little entrees that have been going round, very dainty puff pastries, savoury puff pastries, and small crackers with caviar on, and all manner of nobility small nibbles, dainty little sandwiches and the like. You can see that they have although they're stood up, they are using the table next to them, and Lady Frances keeps taking entrees with a small plate. And you've noticed that on the table there's a number of small plates that the servants almost can't keep up with getting rid of them quickly enough, as she takes half a bite, puts it down on the table, kind of looks very sad and makes out a great difficulty eating, sighs, takes another half bite of the half that's left, and then kind of feigns finishedness as if I can't eat anymore, and steps back to her husband as a servant comes around with more entrees. He takes a couple, she takes one, and feigns trying to eat one down, and then puts it on the table, as just a constant stream of this happening.
So she's taking small bites, but that's
Of like an hors d'oeuvre. You know, these things are meant to be eaten. Her husband is just eating them in one bite. Just
Yeah. They're not Yeah, they're like tiny bitefuls of food.
Yes. And she's
Yeah.
halving and quartering them and then leaving quarter behind.
Huh. She is the old lady, right? Does she
Yes,
look-
she's a much older lady than the women in here. You would think that she's probably in her early 40s, maybe mid 40s. Early 50s, because she has got good makeup on. But remember, Dark Ages.
Yeah. Okay, well, okay.
And she's wearing a silver and black dress with a black veil going over her face.
Haha, let's show her the ever useful elves. That'll be fun.
Does anyone else on the group want to do anything else? Or does anyone on the group want to accompany us while we're doing this?
I tag along again.
Invite them
Yeah,
to play spin the bottle.
No.
Ragnar's just making small talk with Carla and the noble she was with.
Okay.
So, nothing too
Okay.
important.
Oh, Casper, let's go again. Time to work our magic. And milk you
God
for
damn
every
it.
ounce of that. Milk you for every ounce of that fellowship.
I swear to God. Get your own damn fellowship. You get XP.
I'm trying, okay?
See, this is why it's really good to be an all-rounder in these games. So you can go off on your own and talk to people without having to be like, I don't want to.
Just
I
so
mean,
you know, if you need me to make a roll, I have to run back inside because I'm outside with the dog at the moment.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's okay, I can click buttons
But
for
yeah.
you.
If you need me to do some talking, bring me on over and I'll do what?
Oh, we're gonna
I'll
drag
blather
you.
them to death.
We're dragging you. You're
I
good
get-
at talking this shit.
Again, it's only like 2 o'clock. The first hour has not passed yet. To be fair, by the time you've introduced yourself, it probably would have passed. But there's an evening of drinking going on. Hello,
Yes,
Albie.
we can hear you now.
I can hear you, Albie.
Hello, Albie.
Oh.
Alright.
Albie, do something, please. Save me from this fellowship.
I was asking if I could get Humperdinck to make an appointment for tomorrow. I've got some stuff to discuss with him. And the party can tag along. And also I will be pestering a waiter to get me a tankard.
Okay, a butler immediately, as soon as you make out as if you're like, right, let's get their attention, one's walking over to you. And after you tell him a tankard of ale, he gives you a curt nod, and before you've got your full sentence out to Humperdinck about making booking a meeting for the team, a tankard of ale has been brought to you.
I thank the butler and take the tankard and take a sip.
Okay, seeing you do that, Humperdinck looks down at you, kind of gets, okay, he probably doesn't understand, and never mind. Humperdinck takes out, what was the last number last week? I think it was 5. So Humperdinck takes out 10 silver coins, and he very loudly drops them onto the waiter's metal serving plate. So there's a audible ding, ding, ding for each coin that drops, and you notice that a number, would it be all of them? It probably would be all of them. None of them are, although actually Thomas probably doesn't take that much interest. He would look up, but you'd definitely see that Humperdinck gets a nod from Robert and a nod from William. And, a nod from George as well. That they all take notice that he's now placed 10 silver on the waiter's tape as a tip, basically.
Do I just have to fucking drop my pants and throw more fucking gold on the thing? Because I've tipped more than all of the nobles.
Oh no, yeah, but you didn't make a show out of it. That's the thing.
True. I have to do that next time.
So Humperdinck turns around to you, Blackhand, and tells you, of course, we'll have a breakfast brunch meeting.
Great. Are you enjoying your evening?
It hasn't even begun yet, Blackhand. It hasn't even begun. But splendid start. Splendid start. Oh, I'll have one of them. As he grabs one of the starters, not starters, entrees, nibbles from waiter passing by.
Do I see people dropping silvers too when they ask, when they take some nibbles?
So I don't believe you saw it last time. I'll let you know for out of character knowledge. Casper saw, I believe it was George, hold up 5 silver coins and put it on the waiter's serving tray as a tip. And now Humperdinck has gone to 10. You don't see any other nobles doing that at the moment.
I dropped 9 at the one who brought the nibbles.
Oh no, so they're just walking round. So when you ask for a drink, a butler goes off to get you one specially. But the one's walking around with... I said the word earlier and now it's just fucked off into the ether out of my head.
Appetizers? Hors d'oeuvres.
Hors d'oeuvres, that's the word. Thank you. So they're walking around with hors d'oeuvres. Just these tiny little mouth-sized snacks. Bite-sized, not mouth-sized. Fucking mouth-sized. Every mouth. Bite-sized snacks. But you'll notice the game later. You'll see it soon. So Casper and Aurelia, Aurelia, go over to the Hamptons.
I'm tagging along as well.
And Livia. So the elves of young and old beauty, looking pretty much the same, walk over with Casper, heavily make up to make him look lively.
Alive. Not lively, alive.
I mean, same thing, really.
So George Hampton does appear to be drinking a lot.
Lively.
You can do a lot with makeup, even in them days. The fantasy
I mean,
days.
put enough lead on someone's face, you know.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's good I'm not being poisoned now, that's fine.
It's fine. Casper's not even alive to care.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
as you
God.
approach, George Hampton would actually step forwards to almost cut you off. But socially, he's got a smile on his face. He steps forwards. His wife continues to dissect hors d'oeuvres. It's a pleasure to meet you. You're Humperdinck's mercenaries, warband members, should I say?
It really would give a gracious bow once more, I should say. Indeed. We're mostly just hoping to introduce ourselves to you, esteemed members of this place.
Aye, well, that's very good of you. I am Lord George Hampton Winter. It's a pleasure. And this is my wife, Lady Frances Hampton Winter. You'll need to excuse her. She is still in mourning, and it would be best if you had not talked to her. At least not now. Maybe later in the evening. We'll have to see.
I'm truly sorry to hear that you're mourning.
Myself included. We are an Aurelia, by the way. Forgive us. And this is... She's gonna point to Casper. Casper.
I'm Casper. I do my bow.
She's gonna point to Livia.
She's gonna take a little bow.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm sorry to hear you're in mourning, sir.
My wife is still in mourning. I
I've let it pass. It has been long enough, and my daughter is still with us, but anyway. It's very odd to see two of your kind out in, in Nuln. Was there a reason you joined Humperdinck's warband, or just wanderlust?
No, we joined Humperdinck because he's a noble and honorable man.
Ha!
And-
He laughs when you say honourable.
and our, interests aligned. So it was a perfect fit.
When you say that, he nods. I know many people's interests align when it comes to Humperdinck. I did not mean to laugh at the idea of Humperdinck being honourable. That was rude of me. I apologise. It's just he does not give off that air, shall we see?
Riley will smile. Honestly, no offense taken, my lord. He's a layered man. That's probably one of his greatest strengths. You can never tell what truly hides underneath when you look at him. And she's going to smile again.
He takes another hors d'oeuvre as they come round. It appears to be a caviar and cream cheese on a light cracker.
I'll order another sparkly drink because I'm pretty sure my sparkly drink is already gone. And as soon as the butler arrives with the sparkly drink, I'll drop a gold.
So George.
Unless they don't have to.
Yes, George will order a drink as well. As both your drinks come over, you'd see that George has already got out 15 silver and drops it audibly onto the serving tray. And again, the noble lords who are taking part in this, you can all see them kind of crane their neck and just close their eyes for a minute and okay, yeah, it is by 5, fair enough.
I'm thinking if it would be rude for me to drop even more than him right now. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
I'm
do
thinking
it.
that as well.
If you understand the game, then by all means you can. But you need to understand the game.
Yeah, I prefer to let this one slide.
By all
Actually,
means,
this is
if you learn
Do it.
if you learn the game, then by all means the nobles will be quite impressed. But if you mess it up, it will be a case of you've just spent a lot of money for, they'll just chuckle at you. They're like, haha, stupid commoner trying to figure out noblemen's games.
I think I already figured it out. Every time someone orders something, the noble that is closest to drops 5 more silver than the last one. And since he dropped
Yeah.
15, I will have to drop 1 gold crown, which is worth 20 silver.
Good dog.
See? Etiquette. I have it. But yeah, I'm not gonna do this now because it's not my turn. But yeah. Is there anything we want to ask him since he cut us off? Can I also, before I forget, can I give the same thing I always give?
Yeah, sure.
It's what I do.
Yeah, you can check them.
Perception test. Ooh.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Okay,
Alright,
so
I'm doing my-
as you look at them, there's no signs of bruising. I'll put that out there now. But you do notice several things. For one, George is eating quite a lot of the hors d'oeuvres. Although he's not a fat man, he's by no means, he's probably in his mid to late 30s. So he is actually younger than his wife. The finery on these two is much less than the other nobles around.
Whilst they do still have some gold rings and some gold finery on them, it's definitely of a smaller gauge. You know, all the jewelry's just that little bit smaller. The gemstones are smaller, not as large and pronounced. Lady Francis. So only really Aurelia would notice this. She is enjoying the music. Like, from under her veil, every now and then you see her turn away from everyone and just close her eyes, and a small smile appears. And this does, like, over your entire conversation's length, she is not given the impression of someone in mourning, but she's dressed as if she is showing everyone she is still in mourning, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it definitely seems to be more of a show. At least that's what you're thinking.
I was muted, sorry. Yeah, what I meant is, so it seems as if she's not actually in mourning, which is why she's wearing the veil, like clothes and stuff like that. So people look at her and go like, okay, she's in mourning, but she's not really in mourning.
Yes, and just for a bit of context, I think it was Victorian times women of nobility would it be expected to mourn their husband or their son's death for sometimes years, and it wouldn't be seen as unusual.
Yep.
In this timeline, people die all the time, you know. It's quite a deadly timeline, so it's Warhammer Fantasy. Be expected.
Wait, didn't Queen Victoria mourn for Albert? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, it was for the rest of her life, pretty much.
Yeah, it was for the rest of her life.
She had an Indian toy boy at one point. It's fine.
She had a Scottish toy boy at one point too, so.
Proof that the Scots are the superior race.
She just had
I
to pay
didn't know
off the
of
right
Scott.
people. She just had to pay off the right people to sweep it under the desk for a few, you know, decades. Well, no, a couple of centuries.
Yeah. Sweep it under the desk, or she swept it under the table.
Okay.
Was there anything else that you wanted to know about them?
Thing is, now I'm actually a bit concerned. We don't know what they do for a living, do we?
Did you mute yourself, Henry?
No. Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you.
I can hear him.
Des, can you hear us?
Des, can you hear us?
This.
Okay, it's alright. It's my headset that's fucked up. Hold on 1 second. Keep talking, because obviously...
No, it can't make me.
So...
Eat your vegetables, Caspar.
Okay, I heard that. It's lovely.
Ragnar's gonna knife that guy, right?
Wait, what?
Where did that come from?
Ragnar's rolling stealth, they go over there and shank the guy in the back.
The dwarves send their regards.
Not yet.
No,
later.
what you have to do is you go up to the guard captain and you pull out a dagger and you as you stab him you say diggy diggy ho motherfucker.
Turns out Ragnar's knife actually looks like a tiny pig.
I feel like when I get a best quality one, I will get it with like a pickaxe style like handle to it.
It's not even a fucking dagger, it's just two daggers stuck together on a little mini pole, so it's just a mini fucking pickaxe.
So was there anything else you wanted to know about the Hamptons?
Yeah, what I asked is, we don't know what they do for a living, do we?
Oh,
Like-
motherfucker! Will you?
No.
Sorry, I keep.
Is you alright?
Yeah, I keep losing you every time. I'm like, so is there anything else you want? I think.
God damn it!
God damn it!
We want to work out what they're doing for a living.
Yeah.
Well, the nobles. Okay. What did they do to make their fortune?
Okay, so Lord George would tell you that he was actually was involved in a number of construction companies that were meant to do work for nobility and for the city of Nuln itself.
Ah.
Hang on, I just need to roll a 1d10 to see how drunk he is.
Ah.
Okay, so he's had a few, so he's going to be a little bit more loose-lipped. He would tell you that he basically was in construction and imports. He's got a lot of other side businesses, but the main one that he invested into was construction, and he was planning on going to the Electus Count to get her permission to basically redo certain key parts of Nuln's, like the grander buildings that the city owned, and then through that he'd be able to go to the temples and try and do their maintenance for their buildings, and to get his company into doing only the highest grade part of Nuln, which he says at the moment his company was only in the industrial quarter. If there are any accidents in there, if there's any damage to their kilns or forges, his company takes care of it. He has the craftsmen to be able to do that. And he does actually brag a little bit, which is sad because neither of the dwarves are with them, that he uses dwarven forge building and smithy building techniques that he had to buy from the dwarves, from the Dwarven Guild.
Can't tell if he's bullshitting.
You can do a perception test to see if he's bullshitting about that, by all means.
Any positives or negatives?
You could probably get a plus 20, to be completely honest with you.
I don't think I can fail them unless I got 100.
100.
I'm gonna try to, because why not?
Oh, close.
Oh,
Oh,
I
look at the
failed.
doubles if the psychers were
I
here.
didn't fail that one either, I think.
You still have to roll just because hundreds, you know. He's not lying at all. He's telling the truth.
Oh shit, double.
Yeah, two
This
lots
is
of
my
doubles.
first double in like 50 sessions.
That's Cornholio's doubles. When I got Swimeshi doubles.
So yeah, he's not telling telling any lies at all. He's completely telling the truth.
Oh, okay. Very good.
And then he tells you that some things happened, which when he says that, you can. I'll definitely give it to Aurelia. His wife's listening into this conversation, and when he says that things happened, you do see her visibly drop. You know, not actually drop. You can see her shoulders slump forwards, her face goes gaunt, and a tear falls from her eye. Some things happened, and he was reserved in his. He would not back down from this. And then other things happened, and at that you can hear his wife actually start sobbing. And she pulls onto the side of the back of his clothes, of his jacket, and pulls down. And at that point, he tells you no more.
Okay.
He excuses himself and turns to his wife and attempts to comfort her.
Aurelia would give them both a gracious bow and say, "Thank you for your time. I'm sorry if we disturbed you in any way," and she's gonna leave.
Lord George would probably give you a Like he's clasping his wife, but he'd probably bring his hand round to give you like a wave, as if, you know, don't worry, it's not your fault.
Except it totally is.
Lydia would say, "We understand," and give an actual bow this time. Then turn to leave.
Yeah, Casper will give a bow and apologize for any unnoticed rudeness on his end, and will allow them time. Or give them time, so I don't allow them time. Sounds fucking noble.
Sure. So,
Okay. I think it's time for us all to huddle up and figure out a plan on how we're gonna steal and kill everybody. Shit from everybody in this place.
What is Carla doing at the moment?
Probably just lounging around Ragnar. At this point.
the Ragnar and Carla have come away from the Holland.
Okay.
No, the Hardings.
Yeah.
As a new number has taken up, and Lady
Actually, Woodard,
Harding has pulled her husband away back onto the dance floor.
I think you mean
The Hardings,
the
Helen.
Woodards.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. No,
No,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was
The
the
Woodards.
Woodards,
Yeah, the
Being
Woodards.
one
Sorry.
of them, okay?
Yeah.
Ah, sorry. It was the Woodards.
So many names.
It's even difficult for the GM when he has a list with them all written on. It's like, oh.
Ragnar's definitely filling Carla in on how much of an asshole that captain of the guard is.
Boy, he's such a fucking cunt. Did you know what he said to me? He says I'm an old digger. I haven't done that in years.
Did you really expect anything more from a man totally in Marquis' pocket?
The sad thing is, it's only the minor clan who do mining in Dwarven society. You're
Yeah.
born into it. So as a runesmith, he probably never dug a hole in his entire life.
I ran through a fair few because I was a
I
rune
mean,
bearer.
surely some
But
dwarven childsmiths dig some holes from time to time.
No, it is illegal. It is below your class. If you do that, you are disowned.
It was a very
Probably
caste-based
become a
society,
slayer if you ever dug a hole.
to be fair, runesmiths pick from everyone, so like as to who they take their apprentice. So you could be a miner and then a runesmith.
Well, with your suavity, I'm sure you haven't filled
I
that
mean,
many
the only
holes.
thing you really need to do is just court a rune lord.
If your rune lord really wanted to piss off the nobles of the Karak that he lived in, sure, he'd pick a miner. It's like picking a peasant to be your squire. It's like one
That's the
day you
thing.
will be a knight, and that will piss everyone off.
That's the thing, though. Rune lords are that belligerent that they would do that just
This
for
is
fun.
true. This is true.
Oh,
In
I wanna
old
be a
age.
rune lord eventually.
I love the dwarves.
So, you all huddle up, and you will have some time to talk over what's going on. But an hour passes. It is now 3 o'clock. You would know this by the fact that there are a couple of ornate... they're basically cuckoo clocks, but they're the really ornate ones where on the hour... Excuse me. On the hour... little figures come out, and you can see that a small battle takes place between a dragon and knights on horseback. There's no noise, it doesn't make a noise, but you do see, it is a visible little performance and a mechanical marvel that most of you have never seen before. Is, kind of, the nobles don't take notice of it, but it's something that you guys probably would pick up on.
Dwarves take a look at it, go, seem better.
I saw that on a flea market once.
How dare you? One of the waiters' butlers is going to come up and say, that was made by the dwarven smith known as the greatest of Karak, whatever.
Jimmy Bob.
He doesn't. Aye, it was made.
The Lord of Karak. Which one's the one that's lost? Is it Karak Zorn?
I think so.
A lot of cards on this. Sure, he did.
Sure. do you mind pointing in the direction of Carrickthorne? It's been
Yeah.
a while.
The dwarven smith of greatest legend, Leroy Jenkins. Oh, it was a masterpiece.
Legend's so great that we forgot about him.
An hour
Can't be that-
passes, so it's 3 o'clock now. The hors d'oeuvres do change as well. Now they are of a more meaty variety, different types of pate and cured hams, venisons, and other types of meat come out. Yes, Navi. Yes, Navi. You have a moment to discuss. Actually, before the hour passes, Lord Humperdinck stood with the Hardings. You'd notice that he was, for anyone who was bored enough to watch, for a large part of the discussion, he was talking to William, and their discussion got quite heated at one point. And then, as you all kind of turned to regroup, you would have heard Humperdinck say quite loudly, "I don't see why I should listen to you, you fucking slut. We all know what you do with the Marquis. It's not a bloody secret. What? You think we all don't know that he rogers you whilst your perverted little husband here watches? It's just disgusting. I mean, have some sense. You're a noble of Nuln."
Gee.
Ragnar just gets ready to high five. Humperdinck.
You just see
I approached the dude with the blunderbuss.
you
My
just see
blunderbuss.
Lady Harding just go into complete shock, just like covering her face and looking around at everyone as all the lesser nobles are sniggering. The higher nobles are all looking over. All the ladies have put fans in front of their faces to hide their sniggering. Even Lady Frances, who was crying, has stopped and taken an interest and turned to watch. "Oh, why don't you just put another entree in your fat mouth so your ass gets even bigger? I'm sure the Marquis would enjoy such abundance of jiggling to play with in his whatever he likes to. I believe he called it his suction, didn't he? Something along those lines."
What the fuck is a sextant?
I'm gonna have to roll willpower. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not rolling, but I'm fucking losing my head at this. I'm fucking laughing.
Which one's Will?
Fuck that bitch.
Mirella stays composed, even though she has she's not covering her mouth, but she's like holding a giggle clearly.
At this point,
Ragnar just calls out, "Well said, my lord."
Lord William has gone bright red, just absolutely raging. But he doesn't do much. And you would notice, as you guys have kind of pulled up in the middle, Sir Edward has come inside now, stuffing his pipe before he enters and putting it away, looking round, seeing Humperdinck. He marches over.
Can I move closer to Humperdinck to intercept
Yeah.
if need be?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
like to move up to
Yeah,
Humperdinck.
yeah, probably should.
And I just give a servant a look of like, "Get ready."
Standing behind Lord Humperdinck, Sir Edward gives Sir William a look. Sir William visibly looking over at Sir Edward and kind of nodding with gritted teeth. I can't remember what William's voice was. He's a snivelling wretch. But I just did that voice for him, and he was quite a nice person. Can I do a snivelling wretch? Meh.
Just use your normal voice; it'll fit fine.
Oh, it's just mean.
Well, Humperdinck, I think you are nothing more than a blackguard, a fool, and a charlatan. And
He ruffles round not being able to find what he's looking for, he turns around to his wife and pulls one of her gloves off of her hand, off of her pudgy fingers, and throws it at Humperdinck. It glides through the air and just basically gently brushes against his groin before it falls to the floor. Humperdinck.
Harder, Daddy.
I do not.
Obi, no!
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
I do not want such favours from your wife, you disgusting wretch. Is that what you do to the Marquis to let him know that you want to watch a bit of hanky-panky going on? I bet your penis is a little nub, isn't it, you weaselly little runt? No, I challenge you to a duel, sir. We will set this like noblemen should. Not that you would understand, you country bumpkin. What, from the wilds of Hockland? Well, we will show you. Oh, will you now? I believe it is the challenger who gets to pick the weapons. Is it not, William? Willy boy. I choose pistols. Willy. When would you like to have this duel? William goes white at this, not quite thinking things through, before Sir Edward steps forward.
Carla's going to interject. Worry not, in case of any unfortunate outcomes, I am a trained priest of Moor, and I will be able to provide the final rites should the need arise.
When the need
See,
arises.
Sir Humperdinck, it seems that you are all set for when you fail this. Sir William, I of course will offer my services as your second, if you should wish me to perform the duel for you. It would be my pleasure.
Oh, can't fight his own battles, can he?
No, Sir William is an honourable and skilled master-at-arms. I would only be honoured to let you perform the duel for me, sir.
Coward!
Iran's gonna speak softly, not for anyone to hear, but if people hear, fuck it. She's like, oh, so the Marquis fights for you in the bed, and this other man fights for you when you have to actually fight. What type of man?
The person issuing the duel was supposed to carry it out. Oh well. Strange are the noble customs, I suppose.
He's a coward in the bedroom and a coward in the battlefield.
So you would, for those of you who went over to him, you would notice that Lord Thomas is currently watching eagerly, like almost standing on his seat to be able to get a good view of the drama unfolding. Lord George is currently checking on his wife. Robert and Elizabeth have stopped dancing. Robert is starting to walk over, and the Hardings just... One's in shock and embarrassment, one's in rage and embarrassment. So Edward is feeling justified in challenging Humperdinck, taking out Humperdinck.
Was it Sir Edward that challenged him? I thought it was...
No, I thought it was the other guy who challenged him, and Edward stepped in.
Lord William has challenged him, but in a challenge for a duel, you can have a second, and you can have that second do the duel for you, and that's what Edward's done.
So Edward's being a pussy, gotcha.
No, William's being a pussy, and Edward's...
I'm going to...
William.
I was about to say, so what is the duel you're suggesting then? Just so our Lord can pick the proper second for himself.
I've already stated, it will be bloody pistols, of course.
Aurelia would just smirk.
Yeah, I was going to nudge it, Aurelia.
In fact, I find it quite poetic for pistols at dawn. Don't you? Dickless shit. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be talking to him now, aren't I? Because this is no longer in your feeble little hands. So, Sir Edward, pistols at dawn, or did you want to make it noon?
Well, we shouldn't ruin this evening. Enjoy it, Humperdinck. Pistols at noon tomorrow. I bloody well look forward to it. In fact, you know what? I see no reason for you people to be here. I may just push my authority round. You can't do that, Humperdinck. We're all members here. I bloody well paid for my own ticket, thank you very much. Unlike you, we all know that the Marquis pays for your entry here. Do you have to be so gaudy? I mean, really, man, have some decorum. Sorry, I couldn't say that with a straight face, knowing what Humperdinck is dressed like. So Humperdinck, for those of you who don't know, is currently wearing basically a tuxedo, but the tuxedo itself is like orange top with purple trousers, a red shirt, a yellow bow tie. He's just dressed in the most gaudy fucking suit you can imagine. Even a pimp would look at that and go, nah. Swipe right, left. Left? I don't know.
I don't know.
One of
I
those.
was doing a Tinder reference, but
One of the Tinder
yeah.
things.
He is peacocking in the finest.
Unlike William, who can't peacock his wife.
How true.
He can't peacock her because of his peacock.
Yes, I was about to say.
It's about at this point when a number of the waiters comes over. The minor nobles have given this situation a lot of room and are gossiping and getting round, and you'd see that the waiters kind of lean in to each noble lord and start whispering. Humperdinck kind of nodding along and looking round and gives out a large sign. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, I apologise for my actions. I understand I have made a show of myself here, but when you meet buffoons that need to be put in their place, you have to do so. Actions are, of course, the greatest thing we can do in life. But I should have held my tongue and my actions. I hope that I have not brought too much disgrace to the righteous and honourable and noble Golden Hammer. We must all respect the place that we love so much. So I will say adieu for now and step into the garden for some time to cool off and to get away from the stench of that woman's fucking fanny.
Jesus Christ. Humperdinck goes hard.
I'm gonna go
Humperdinck's
with
savage.
I'm gonna go with Humperdinck
Yeah.
because I need to talk to him.
So, Getty, you needed a business idea, didn't you? There it is.
Wait, what idea did you get out of that? Is that a cuckolding whorehouse, or...?
No, I mean all the nobles whispering after a duel was announced.
Oh, betting!
Oh yes,
Indeed.
let's sell tickets.
We can sell
I
tickets.
approve. If
Yeah.
you tell me, I will probably help. No, I will help.
I have to find the rules for dueling next time. Good.
Roll off initiative and roll off the shot.
See, the thing is, even though Ragnar's terrible with pistols, he still really wants to be the one to do it. That would be a bad idea.
Bad idea.
I
Leave that
mean, you do realize we're totally gonna cheat, and I'm gonna bless Humperdinck, right?
Oh, no, you gotta bless Aurelia.
Or well, I'm gonna bless whoever's gonna be fighting.
I don't know. I don't think Humperdinck's actually going to accept it now because we let him boast a little bit too much about William being a cuck.
Well, he doesn't have to know.
It depends on how pissed he gets tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Why'd
good that it's.
Yeah, maybe let's
Professor.
make sure he doesn't do while hungover.
Yeah, that'd
I
be a
mean,
bad
Don't
idea.
you have a hangover cure spell?
coconut
No.
water.
There is actually a drink that cures hangovers, but it has side effects.
Yeah, but fuck if we're gonna make him drink it.
Yeah, Raleigh will follow Humperdinck anyway towards the
Yeah, that's-
garden.
So would Ragnar.
Yeah, I'll go too. Why not?
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll too. Let's just stay together.
Just the entire fucking group just kind of follows him on his back.
So as Humperdinck leaves the ballroom, the crowd giggling and some in shocked silence, one woman is distraught at having her secrets, in quotations, revealed to all that could hear. Humperdinck walks out like a baller with his pimp cane as his crew follow him behind.
If we walk past
I
him, can I
fetch
just
my
whisper over,
weapon.
even I knew, and give her a quick wink.
As he goes to go outside, he quickly grabs the attention of a butler, who quickly dashes off. He goes out into the garden and takes out a smoke from his from his coat pocket, and lights it. Turning around and seeing you all, he's like, didn't expect you all to follow me. Well, I'm sure it looked very good.
Rather than smiling, she'll just say, "Masterfully said, Humperdinck, if I can say so."
Very well done.
Not my finest moment, but I have no time for... well, there's so many words I could use, but I have already used, but the dregs of the high society I have no time for. And that Edward is just much of a dumbass as the rest of them. I mean, how gaudy can you get? All that gold and ridiculous.
My lord, you do realise what he's doing by stepping in like that. They obviously know who we are. This is an attempt to take you off the board. You can't be the one to face him tomorrow.
Oh, pish posh, I've taken out much better shots than him. I am a black powder specialist. It will be perfectly fine. Don't worry for a second about
he
me.
is in the Marquis's pocket.
Oh, I'm well
And if
aware.
that's not a provocation,
Sir, if I may, he doesn't like us non-humans much. How much would it wrinkle his feathers if one of the finest Marks people I've come to know, who happens to be in this warband, was to face him instead and beat him?
Your brother is gonna look at Ragnar smiling, just waiting.
Aurelia,
Yes.
how do you feel about cheating? Well, maybe not cheating. A divine aid.
Use all available assets, I say.
Ragnar's gonna look at Kala and say, "Kala, you do realize we have different gods, right?"
Well,
I think if you were to...
that's more of a my thing to worry about. I'm sure if you said that you had this goddess similar to more. What was the name? High.
You don't mean Mariah Hag, do you? Comparing Mariah Hag to...
Yeah, that's
Oh.
Comparing Mariah Hag to Moore is a bit...
Well,
well, they
before
both have the same area
So,
of competence.
ladies,
So, Aurelia.
before we get to that, our lord does need to make his decision.
Aurelia, you do also... You're not a mage, but I'm sure Livia's told you at one point that, yeah, if Carla ever tries to cast a blessing on you, it's just magic. Just ignore the god nonsense.
Someone else probably knows.
I know this. I'm not just saying this to I need to have fun with Carla as
I'm
long as I can.
sure that if I placate more enough, he will bestow a blessing upon an elf after all, or a welcome in his embrace.
I'm sure I can whip up an 8 on the pistol of my own design.
I think
Well-
I might be able to offer something less fine that would help as well.
So, for a start, the pistols are of the Golden Hammer. You don't bring your own pistols to a.
You trust those?
Oh, the Golden Hammers, of course. I would trust my firstborn with the Golden Hammer. I pay for it. So-
Seems like a good way to die.
Well, that wrinkles my plan.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I can inspect the weapon. I can load it myself if I wish. But the actual weapon has to be... They're twins, you see. Dueling pistols.
Oh my lord.
Rose
There
is
is... I
I
still...
honestly-
Oops, sorry. You go.
whichever pistol they may choose. I'm also pretty good with it, if you do so choose to have me as your second.
He is an odious man. And I do so want to see him embarrassed even more to lose out to a non-human.
And a woman at that.
I'm not trying to embarrass him. I'm trying to kill him.
Oh, that...
Ira's gonna give a big smile and say, "Oh, that's even better than my lord."
Don't get me wrong, in duels it's not always the case that someone dies. For the most part, most combatants don't even shoot each other. But I'm a skilled marksman, and I want to kill him. So, I don't see why it's not possible. As long as I hit him in the head, then, well, that's the end of him. I do agree, though, I don't really want to take the risk of being shot. I've done it before, and it's not the most pleasant thing. I'll give it some thought. I know Blackhand wants us all to have a meeting tomorrow. In fact, before the duel, which is quite handy.
I mean, it can be after us.
Oh no! I never duel on an empty stomach. We must have breakfast or brunch, one of the two. And then after the duel, we can go for lunch. I think that's a wonderful plan. I think that's a perfect way to sort our day out. But
If you insist on having a lunch first, just make sure you don't get shot in the gut. That gets nasty real fast.
well,
Gets nasty fasty.
I'm not planning to get shot. I'll hopefully get him in the eye or something. But
A lot of people who get shot don't plan on to get shot initially.
Lord, I do have a request, however. If we merely injure him and not kill him, what is the rules around someone finishing him off?
oh, that's murder. Yes.
I'm gonna laugh at that.
I would have to agree. I would have to agree with that, Ragnar. That's murder. A duel is a duel. Murder is murder.
Oh god.
Oh.
I mean, I was thinking about it, and, you know, with what you told me, what you have uncovered, what I've uncovered, things started to line up. And I figured that if I were to attempt to damage the Marquis in any way, shape, or form, well, wouldn't the best way be to pick at the foundations, the things that protect the man, and so on, and so forth. So I figured, well, here's an opportunity. I didn't expect the Hardings to turn up. With their pathetic means at hiding their secrets, it was the perfect opportunity for me to take care of one of the bigger obstacles. Being
They
Sir
were
Edward.
attempting to hide it?
Oh yes, they've been trying to hide that for quite some time now. but everyone knows, but whispers behind their back and giggle in corners, and I merely brought it to the light of day. And isn't it such a wonderful thing to bring to so many? He just has a real big fuck you grin on his face.
I was just smiling.
I'm just gonna shrug my shoulder and say, if you didn't say it, I would.
Someone would. Although, how long before we resume our journey up north?
Journey up north. Well, he kind of ponders for a moment, smoking his cigar. Black Powder Week starts in 2 days. Within that week, the auction should happen. And then after the auction, I had planned to leave. So we'll have to see. I may stick around for a bit longer. It may be the case that we only damage the Marquis. Take out a few of his key protectors, maybe. Wink, wink. And then we'll have to leave.
Good. The
my lord.
sooner we leave, the better.
Well, speaking of the market, sorry, market auction. Is there any chance you know what the young Lord Robert wants?
Oh, Robert. Yes, some elven boots of some sort or another.
Rather raises an eyebrow.
Okay.
Probably not a good idea.
Well,
Your turns to Irelia. Are they on the list?
I would give a quick kind of like nod of the head. Well, I may have heard one or two things saying that the Marquis is also vying for such object. Perhaps it's a good way to get both a show of force against the Marquis and in the good graces of Robert, if you were to purchase the boots and then, I don't know, sell it to him afterwards.
Rather's gonna look at Casper. Not a good idea.
No?
No.
No.
Well, so they're special boots as far as I've been told. Robert told me that they were meant to be made out of star dragon leather or some such nonsense. I'm not quite. It does a pair of old boots. No offense. He gestures at the two elves. I don't care for some old boots that someone wants hundreds of gold. No interest to me. But apparently he wants it because he thinks he can find a market for it. He was talking about maybe copying the style of the boots to see if he could do something with fashion, and that he had a buyer for the items, or someone wanted to rent them, or some nonsense. But I think that's the item the Marquis is going for, because he's got a bit of a thing for elves.
Rather's gonna look at him. I think it would be preferable if those boots, which are relics to our people, would fall on our hands and not on the Marquis' hands.
What relic? What, some
The boots.
bloody old boots?
Ariel is just gonna raise an eyebrow. Yes, Humperdinck. Bloody old boots.
Remember the reason we came out of the forest in the first place.
Oh, have another one. Your people sent you out to pick up some old boots? As a relic?
Humperdinck.
I understand the sword. That's a beautiful item. Some boots?
Humperdinck.
Boots can be.
Affected?
Oh, sorry.
Humperdinck, those boots may be enchanted. Those boots may have belonged to a hero at some point. We have no way of knowing. We just know that those are a relic. And relics to our people are very valuable to us. Much like she's gonna look at Ragnar and much like if you were to find an armor made out of Grumril, that would be highly valuable to our friends over there.
But
To everyone.
but that means you want to go up against the Marquis and Robert.
Well, I do believe Robert could be persuaded to part ways with them. Robert, after all, is an entrepreneur, and although he collects fine items, being friends with, well, elves such as us could be better.
I adjust my coat and go. I'll go talk to him.
So, we will, so let me think. How long's passed? An hour's passed from there. Okay. So, as Casper turns and goes to enter the ballroom to find Robert to talk to him, the camera zooms out ever so slightly as a new angle is taken up behind a man walking down a corridor towards some very elegant ballroom doors. And that is where we will end our episode for tonight. And in the next episode, we'll find out who walks through those doors, and can our group come to an arrangement with Robert, and what will happen in the morning? Well, at noon tomorrow. Will Humperdinck fight his own duel, or will the elf do it for him? And can they get rid of the corrupt guard captain? Well, that will all happen, hopefully all happen, although this was meant to be like an episode, maybe 2, and I just enjoyed it too much. They added some bits on, so
Yeah. It was good fun RP.
we
I
will
enjoy
see
RP.
what happens in the next episode.
It was fun to be.
So I certainly hope you have enjoyed this episode, and if you like this series and have missed out on certain episodes, you can go to my YouTube channel at Dyslexic Gamer. I don't know, Dyslexic Gamer on YouTube? Look for the avatar, they're the same. Where I upload all of our tabletop RPGs, so you can watch from the beginning at your leisure. So, with that said, take care everyone, and as always, bye bye for now.
Bye.
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 Yeah.